Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Exponential Potential. I'm Jennifer Evans, aka Zen Jen, and I'm flying solo today, so without co-host or guest. And today we are finishing the theme for this month, which has been all around love. And today I'm going to be talking about back to loving life even when you feel like you're in the weeds and overwhelmed. And I think for me, we can't always be completely in love with life, or we can't always be happy and joyful in life. It's just it's not possible. So what I want to do today is to show you ways of how to move through challenging and difficult times when you're feeling low, when you're feeling down, when you're out of sorts and out of your flow. And I think there were some things going on energetically a couple of weeks ago, because I certainly felt in the conundrums and down and low. And it took me a couple of days, which is very unusual for me, to come through it. And I think part of it actually is I wasn't feeling too well. So my energies felt quite depleted. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do and I share with my clients to help them get out of that funk. Whether you, as I say, whether you're feeling like you're overwhelmed and have been for some time, whether it's something that you're just going through at the moment. So to give you some fresh perspective and some tools and practices that you can use so that you can get back to loving life, even when when you're facing challenge. And we all know life is filled with ups and downs and twists and turns. And it always will be. That's life. So at times it may seem, and I know I've experienced this for sure, you may seem like you're stuck in that downward spiral, and it's really difficult to get out of it. It's difficult to see any light at the end of the tunnel. And we can stay stuck in that game. We can stay stuck in that waiting game for things to change, for things that are outside of ourselves, external circumstances to change. We can be stuck in, well, when this challenge or when, excuse me, when this passes, I'll be okay. I'll be able to focus on me. I'll be able to feel a bit happier. But life isn't like that. As I said, life is full of ups and downs, and it's constant. There's always a new challenge. There's always something that's going on in our lives that can have a negative impact on us, or leave us feeling heavy and depleted. And we can play that waiting game of when it changes, or when I get a new job, when I get that pay rise or that promotion, when I have a boyfriend or girlfriend or partner, when I've lost weight, when the kids are older, and we can stay in that game waiting for things to change, but it ultimately comes down to you. And that can be really empowering, knowing that you have full control over how you feel in any given moment. And we're going to talk about feelings shortly, and how we can move through those feelings when we do feel heavy and sad, and when we feel life's not going our way. So I think when you realize that you have full control of your life, you can feel, it just makes you feel a lot lighter that nobody else is in control of that. There's no external situation that's you have to wait for. Your happiness, your fulfillment is all within your grasp. So you're not relying on anyone else or anything else to bring you that happiness and that joy and that love. And I think that is key. to it's a great place to start. And all we need to do, and it's not difficult either, all we need to do is shift our perspective and take action. And I say it's not difficult to do, it's simple to do, but it's not always easy. And that action can be anything from taking a nap to journaling, doing some deep breathing, going outside. So simple actions will help you take those steps up towards feeling heavy to feeling lighter, and getting from a place of sadness to happiness and more joyful, both within the moment, but also within life in a consistent daily basis. And one of the biggest things that we're not thinking about the past, we're not thinking about the future. When we're in the present moment, that's where we uncover a world of ideas, solutions, possibilities, and potential. So how do we do that? How do we get back to that joy and living and loving life? Or if you've not really loved life up to this point, how do you get to that point? And it's one of the things that I help my clients with, really create a life they love. And no matter where you are in life, it is possible. And you may think, some of you know that I live in Italy, and you may think that my life is perfect, but one, it isn't, and two, it's certainly never been this way. But because I've learned the tools, I've learned the perspective, the mindset, I've learned how to love myself, and all those pieces that come together. I've learned how to do that for myself, and that's what I teach my clients. So we'll talk about that a bit more later as well. So understanding how do you get there? So being present is huge. When we are in the moment, when we let go of judgment and without the attachment of the past or the future, that already feels lighter in itself. And that's what mindfulness is all about. That's the concept of mindfulness, is being present and learning how to appreciate the beauty and richness of each moment, regardless of what's going on around us. And when we're present, it relieves stress, reduces anxiety and depression, and it allows us to experience life as it unfolds, as I say, without that judgment. And it brings a deeper sense of connection and fulfillment. And one of my go-tos is nature. Every time is to get out in nature, and to be present in nature. So to be still and quiet. And when we are present with nature, when we feel that connection that we have, although we're not a part of nature, we're not separate from nature, we are part of nature. And that's why when we're in nature and we're quiet and we're present and we're feeling and appreciating and seeing and smelling the beauty that it has, it brings, for me personally, it brings me such a sense of deep peace, harmony, and connection. And what I noticed when I started feeling out of sorts, and yes, part of it was down to not feeling 100% health-wise, but I also noticed that I hadn't been spending time in nature. Usually I spend it, I'm in nature every single day, and I hadn't done. And I noticed when I'm not doing that, my body lets me know, by me feeling not great, it was letting me know, well, you need to do something about that. Which leads me on to how we navigate the low points when we feel down and we feel low, or we feel overwhelmed or fed up. And that's how we embrace those feelings and how important it is to embrace those feelings. And people shy away from feelings, but when we push them down, when we don't express them or don't allow them to come up to be released, they will sit in our body somewhere and they will cause stress or tension or pain, discomfort. They will create dis-ease in our bodies. So they will create, they create illness if we're squashing the feelings down. So it's important to allow ourselves to feel those feelings. And I know a lot of people are fearful of expressing feelings. They don't want to get stuck there. What if I allow myself to cry, or what if I allow myself to feel sad? A lot of people they fear those feelings either from how they grew up and they weren't allowed to express their feelings, not being allowed to cry when you're out. Oh, don't cry. It's okay. There's no need to cry. And crying is looked on as a negative, as a bad thing, or feeling sad is looked at as a bad thing to do. But it's so important to express those feelings, because your body, the feelings are a form of your body letting you know that there's something that needs to come up to heal. It's giving you an opportunity to grow and to learn. So for me, when I feel something now, I allow it to come up. And important, I help clients with feelings. I help them express their feelings, but not from a place of fear, but from a place of knowing that by expressing their feelings, it will create so much more freedom for them within their emotions, their feelings, and within their body. And without judgment is a really difficult thing to do as well. I know, we judge. I don't know whether you've noticed, but when you're feeling down or feeling blue or sad or overwhelmed, or, there's always some judgment that comes through. I shouldn't be feeling like this. Why am I feeling like this? I have no right to feel like this. And you feel that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, and you judge that. And when we judge, especially around, I notice with clients, especially around anxiety, that it's seen as a weakness, and we get to the point of feeling that anxiety is, it's sort of a taboo. We shouldn't feel anxiety. It's a sign of weakness. But actually, it's your body letting you know that things are out of alignment. So when we start to appreciate what our feelings are showing us, it helps release the judgment. There are other things that I help my clients with around judgment. But when we are able to release that judgment, it creates so much emotional freedom, and it allows us to focus on what actually is the underlying cause of those feelings, which allows us to heal or let it go. Become aware of what thoughts we're having that are creating those feelings or those emotions. So it allows you to tune in to your mind or to your body to see what's really going on, so you can let it go and you can heal and move through it with so much more ease. Because when we're judging ourselves, and we are born, not born, but we learn judgment, and we judge ourselves, we judge others, we judge our lives, we judge other people's lives. And it takes a huge amount of time and energy from us when we're in that judgment. So as I said, it's key to let go of judgment. When you do that, it will release stress and tension, and it will help lift you. You'll feel happier, freer, and it allows you to really get to those hidden causes underneath to heal. And I help my clients do that. I help them release judgment. I give them some really powerful tools and practices so that they can let go of judgment. And the funny one is that you then judge that you're judging. You judge yourself for judging yourself. So there's a little bit of a a circle that goes on there, but you can break that circle, you can break that pattern by coming from a place of love, and other things that you can do to distract your brain from the judgment and actually focus on the problem. I mentioned crying before, and crying is a really powerful healing tool. And we're told that, as I say, growing up, we're told, don't cry, you don't need to cry, or as boys, and certainly it's seen as a weakness. And it's very hard for a lot of men to cry because they're brought up to boys don't cry. But crying, and scientists have found that there's certain chemicals in your tears, and those chemicals are related to the discomfort in your body. So you are literally releasing the hurt from your body when you cry. It's literally in those tears. You're releasing those chemicals and hormones. You're releasing that hurt and that pain through crying. So it's an incredibly powerful healing tool. And I encourage my clients to, when you feel like you need to cry, to have a really good cry. And also notice, how often do you feel lighter after you've had a good cry? So something to think about. And next time you're feeling sad and you want to cry, don't hold those tears back. Let them go, because it's healing you. Another thing is to help you out of those feeling low and out of sync. Some practices on how you find balance in your life as a whole. Meditation is one of those things, and meditation can be so many different things. So again, it's just bringing yourself mindful meditation. So bringing yourself to the present, doing some nice, gentle, deep breathing to relax and help you be in the present. And then taking away the judgment of those thoughts that are coming through your mind, and allowing those thoughts to drift away. And keep bringing your attention back to your breath. So that will really help you get in the present, and it will bring you that quiet mind. It stills the mind and helps bring you inner peace and calm. So that's another thing that you can do to help lift you out of those blues. And also it's very, very helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed. I mean, I use many, many tools when I'm working with clients, and you just find the ones that work for you. Gratitude is key for everyone, to lift your spirits out of when you're in that downward spiral. I would always ask, when you're feeling, whether you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling low, you're feeling sad, you're just fed up and frustrated, I always ask, what do I need to do in this moment to help me feel lighter? What is the one thing that's going to lift me up right now? Because you can't go from feeling really down and fed up or overwhelmed to feeling overjoyed, unless you get some really good news, like you've won the lottery or something. That will do it. But listening to your body, listening to yourself, when you ask that question, an idea, a thought will come to mind of what you need to do in that moment. So it's important that you listen to that and follow it, and you take small steps to get to that place of feeling more joy and feeling uplifted. So gratitude is really key as a daily practice to help lift you, because the more you feel, the more you feel good, the more you feel good. And the more you feel sad, the more you feel sad. Unless you're willing to release that sadness and take action and do things that will lift you. So gratitude is really key. Keeping a gratitude journal so you can read back. I like to, every morning, I like to think of 1 to 3 things that I'm truly grateful for, which starts my day off right. And nature, again, is a really easy go-to of why I'm appreciative. So we focus on the things with gratitude. When you're using gratitude properly and you allow yourself to feel gratitude, and again, that can be difficult for people. Just, rather than just saying, oh, I'm thankful for this, or I'm thankful that I'm awake today. I'm thankful that my husband bought me a cup of tea. I'm thankful that I have a job to go to. I'm thankful that the sun came up this morning. You have to really feel that gratitude. And I do a really powerful activation with clients on how, so that their whole body, you feel so much gratitude, you're actually smiling within. So you have a big smile on your face, but it also feels like your heart, your body is smiling, and your cells are tingling with gratitude. So that's true gratitude. So by focusing on gratitude, we start to focus on what we have and not what we have not. So by acknowledging the blessings and abundance that surrounds us, and it does, even when you feel like you've got very little money, or you're just getting by, or you're finding it difficult to pay your bills, there is always abundance around you. And again, I help my clients really tap into their abundance. And abundance is in nature. Abundance surrounds us in nature. And you'll start to feel more of a sense of contentment and appreciation. And then that energy, by feeling appreciation and gratitude, it will attract more abundance into your life and will lift you up, and you will feel fuller. And I use the word contentment, but it goes beyond contentment. It's where you're full of appreciation and you just have a sense of that abundance that surrounds you. So that will really lift you. And connecting with nature, as I said before, it helps us. So it helps us connect with our true essence as well. As I said, we are part of nature. Nature is part of us. We are intertwined, and we have such a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the trees, with the animals, with, in terms of with the sea, with patterns that occur in nature, that occur in our bodies. One of the most symbiotic relationships we have with plants and trees and greenery, where we breathe out what they need to breathe in, and they breathe out what we need to breathe in. So when we take that time and we actually are connecting more to our true essence, and that will bring you freedom and a sense of inner calm and peace. So it's important to listen to your body and allow the feelings to come up. Be aware of what your mind, those stories that you're telling yourself. Be mindful of the thoughts that you're having, because the thoughts you have create your external life. And then actually cultivate some joy, some happiness in your life by infusing it with joy each day, each and every day. Do something that brings you joy, whether that's, and sometimes it's difficult to identify what brings you joy, what makes you happy. And again, I help my clients go into that, really gain clarity on what lifts them, what makes their hearts sing. Because we lost sight of what brings us joy and what makes us happy. And then when you've found out what the things and who the people are that bring you joy, then make sure that you incorporate that into your day. You make time and create space for that every day. because it is absolutely essential to maintain happiness and fulfillment. And when we forget about creating joy in our lives every day, that's when we become down and fed up and frustrated. We become too focused on work and we lose ourselves in it. And then we wonder, as I'm just thinking now, when we wonder why we feel fed up and down, it's because we're not incorporating enough fun and joy and play into our lives. And it could be a hobby, an interest. It could be spending time with loved ones. It could be practicing self-care. So it's prioritizing joy, which will create a more meaningful life filled with love and joy and abundance and happiness and fulfillment. And we kind of wash over that. We kind of think that I haven't got time to myself, or I haven't got time to do this. We make work more important. We make chores more important. So start to sort of think about ways of how you can incorporate your day. A lot of it is based as well. One of the reasons we don't do it is because there's feelings of not feeling worthy or deserving. When I grew up, especially I know my generation anyway, when we grew up, even with Father Christmas, we had to deserve our presents. We had to be good, or we had to do our homework before we could have fun. So there's an inherent, there's a deep sense of having to do something first before we can do something we enjoy. And I had a very interesting conversation the other day with a client around housework, or she's very she has a lot of hobbies. She's very creative and crafty, but she feels like she needs to complete the housework before she starts a project or before she picks up on a project. And it's like, well, where does that come from? Why is that? What? And she thinks, well, I've got to get it done first. And that's a load of nonsense. Life is for living and for enjoying and growing and learning. And it's not about vacuuming every day or washing the floors every day or whatever your chore may be. I mean, it may not be around housework. It may be around a business or your career, working till 8 o'clock at night because you've got a project that you need to get done, or you think you need to get it done. And yes, there are deadlines. But one of the things I help clients with is no matter how busy you are and how many things you've got on your plate, juggling your children, your family, your children, your partner, your parents, your work life, juggling home, juggling shopping, juggling everything. No matter how busy you are, I show my clients how they can carve out time. We create time together, and how you can make time and change their mindset, change their belief systems, change how they feel about themselves, so that they put their well-being as a priority. And they put their joy as a priority. And then life becomes so much easier and freer. Setting those boundaries, planning in some fun time, and how to make tasks, everyday tasks, whether you're at work or at home, making everyday tasks more enjoyable and more fun. So yeah, it's being mindful as well of who you surround yourself with. Are they uplifting and positive? Or are they heavy and negative? And surrounding yourself with positive, supportive individuals who actually uplift and inspire you will significantly enhance your well-being and happiness. But it's not about relying on those people to do that. That's all within you to do. But certainly if you're surrounded by a lot of negative people or toxic relationships, then it's going to be more of a struggle to feel that, to enhance your well-being and your happiness. And finally, one last thing, have compassion for yourself. Be kind and gentle, and have some understanding and compassion for the journey that you've been on. I like to tell my clients, treat yourself like a best friend, especially during times of struggle. And it will help create resilience and self-worth, which again will make you feel lighter, more, happier, and create self-love, which we talked a lot about that in one of the other episodes of this month. So if you want to go deeper, if you want to create a more joyful life, a life that you love, renew your zest for life, talk to me, come and have a conversation with me and see if I can help you. I have some spaces that have opened up for clients, one-to-one clients at the moment. So if you feel, if you've been watching or listening for a while and this is piquing your interest, reach out to me. You can email me, you can connect with me through my website. And I also have a program coming up, and I've been speaking to them about this for a little while now. I have a program coming up all around the key essentials of creating balance and joy in your life. And I will be telling you a bit more about that, but it's a group online program. And the first version I do will be a beta version. So it will be at a really special price. And I'll be delving into your daily lives. It's going to be live and interactive. And I'll be coaching and guiding you through some of the specific issues that you have so that you can live with more balance and joy and vibrancy in your daily life. So that's coming soon. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please share with your friends, family, loved ones, colleagues, if you feel that this is helpful for people. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll speak to you. Take care, and I'll see you or speak to you soon. Bye-bye.